Hey, what's up? I want to thank Jersey Mac for lending me this book too. Cristoforo, Baseggio, The Death Company. This essentially was the like a volunteer unit formed by this colonial veteran, I assume of Libya, the Libyan War in 1912, to try to break some of the stalemates they were having up in the Alpine front, where it was essentially the Austro-Hungarians versus the Italians. There was a lot of disputed territory. You have a lot of villages where people spoke both languages and always considered their loyalties to one or the other, okay, and mixed together. So it's a very interesting part of Europe. Baseggio is very Latin. In fact, one of the themes of this is he decries how everything has become so Teutonic, you know, in terms of seeing war as a science, whereas these men were very romantic and very, courageous to the point of foolhardiness. Essentially, this group lasts about maybe a year. They win some really hard-fought victories. They win little small tactical battles where he mentions morale, okay, and of course the casualties you have both physically and in your morale when you're just sitting around, or when you're having a low halt, or when you stop. Now, a lot of these ideas, of course, are being the idea of maneuver, the idea of trying to break static lines, are being developed independently in all the militaries. Of course, the German Staatstruppen idea, and of course this was the prototype of the Arderis, the shock troops. Okay, you see some of the photos of them in World War I with those crazy looking sci-fi looking helmets and those 7-inch daggers. They were very big on hand-to-hand combat, daggers, grenades, you know, just like the Staatstruppen had tons of grenades. They were tossing those things around like frisbees, you know, and getting in close. These guys sometimes wouldn't even have rifles, but essentially the genesis of this, Baseggio formed this group out of the many different factions of the Italian Royal Army. You had Bersaglieri, Alpinis, you had artists, you had intelligent men, you had career soldiers of the Royal Army in this, and it's kind of funny when you read some of the scenes here. They have you know, ours, we, I know I, right? Whose honor? Ours, right? That was one of their slogans. Yeah, essentially they win battles. The last battle, which decimated this group, okay, the official Arderis would not be formed until 1917, but in 1960, St. Osvaldo, they took it. They literally lost almost all their guys. There was like 50 guys left, mostly wounded. They took this place. Back and forth. There was a couple of back and forth actions where they took it, lost, and in the end they took it. Okay, they had no bullets left. They were all wounded. The Austrians from the other positions were looking at them like they couldn't believe it. These freaking guys won. Okay, and of course they could have all been annihilated, but they just let the guys just leave. They couldn't believe what they had seen. Their attrition rates were horrific, even though they dealt. He even, what is the line in here? Where he goes, it's kind of funny reading it, because what you're seeing is an old Mediterranean mindset. Where he goes, let's see if I can find. I guess I should have thought of it. He basically goes like, he gleefully talks about how his Alpinis had spilled blood. Well, you know, both theirs and theirs of their enemy. Interesting story about how they're always managed to find and steal wine. Wine was very big with them, as you can imagine. You know, but they're very kind. They could be very kind and you could say cruel, right, in a Latin manner. But the Austro-Hungarians had no mercy on these guys either. Some of the hand-to-hand combat was brutal. The one Austrian guy smashing the dude's head in with the rock from above, and still the guy held on, of course, and they shot his ass up. But the dude lingered on for a while. And you see that especially in the final battle. Baseggio will mention a soldier, his charms, his skills, you know, and invariably that soldier will die, almost like an action movie, like a cliche in a movie. But it wasn't. Especially in that last battle, they lost so many people that there was nothing left. But he inspired these shock troops. Of course, there is controversy both with him and the Arderis later, because many of these men, of course, Baseggio was a big supporter of Mussolini, and the fascists. The Arditi formed the core of the early fascists, just like the futurists, right? And his disdain for Bolshevism is high. Good man. But it's a nice little read of something that lasted not a long time with them. But inspired. I guess you could. I mean, if you look at it from an objective point of view, you could say these guys were idiots, right? You could also say that, which you don't. Also, it's horrible to see. It's the Brothers' War thing again. But you know what? It happened, and it's a time and a place. You have to appreciate the valiant courage of these men, and just lament how, of course, it should have been spent, or lament how it doesn't exist now for many of the reasons we mentioned. But a little known part of it, of the world of the Italians in World War One. Okay, the biggest thing you all remember is the Caporetto battle, where they lost. They had a retreat, and Rommel was there. But eventually, I mean, technically the Italians won. I mean, they lost a lot of guys, and they won pretty much nothing, which was, of course, part of the resentment that was going to linger in between the wars and being the rise of power of Mussolini. I like this too. There's a poem some guy wrote, and I'm just gonna just read one verse of it. Okay. Right. There we go. Oh, bella morte, canta l'ama a tutti. Right. Oh, beautiful death. Right. Right. Oh, sweet death. Right. Canta, sing, right? Like canta, right? Sing life to all, l'arma a tutti, all, right? Oh, sweet death, sing of life to all. Right? And I guess I could follow it with what do we got here? Amiti volgi, yeah. You turn to me. Right? This is how pretty as you turn to me, right? Amiti volgi, turn to me. How beautiful, very beautiful. Tanto sei bella, right? I don't know why I keep thinking of her, but Camille Paglia, you just think about that attitude where it's like, you smile, you enjoy the wine, you spill the blood, right? And you don't intend to live long. And it was always cool how the Arditi symbol, there was one, I mean, of course the Germans had the skulls, of course the Freikorps had the Jolly Roger, literally. But the Arditis had the skull with the knife in it, where the skull's almost grinning. It's kind of cool, This is way before, you see this on bikers, shirts and whatever, tattoos, But I always like that, right? Yeah, Avante, forward, right? Yeah, it's really, really good. Really, another time, another place. So, anything else to say? I can't really think of it other than, the Italians, I keep mentioning, always the butt of jokes in the English-speaking world with those wars. Okay? Like I said, it was a 19th century agrarian country that was barely unified, trying to fight in the modern era. And even though perhaps didn't do as well as other countries did, as if they didn't all suffer horrible defeats in the beginning too, with much better logistics and technology. But you see the hint of the ancient world, the pagan world, and the old Christian world, the old Catholic world, defiant against this modern era, with steel in one hand, wine in another, and a line of verse, and hopefully a beautiful woman, back home, who will always remember and always honor and respect her man, whether he came back or whether he joined destiny. All right, later.